Don't listen to the old man's BS, folks. It wasn't too late to get it fixed. He was just too damn lazy to re-record it. What a load of crap.
Well, here we are, folks. Chapter 4 of my Late in Life Journey series. And it is the final one. I'm sure there will be a certain amount of you who will be glad to hear that. When I ended off part 3, I was mentioning that I was starting to have a little buyer's remorse as far as taking this trip was concerned. This is going to explain a little bit about why that happened and what happened. So, without further ado, let's get started on the last of the story. About a week before I was to leave, I really almost canceled. I just thought it was too much. I did get the cancellation insurance, and I could have worked that out, probably, where I would have gotten my money back for the flight. But then I really thought it over and thought, I'm just going to disappoint a lot of people. I'd already, spent several years disappointing a lot of people for a lot of things. I just decided I'd set the man up and make the trip. So I got everything ready. My best friend said he would take me to the airport. Had everything arranged for the cats. Had everything at the house taken care of for my 5-week trip. The days kind of went along fairly fast. All of a sudden, the time was there. I was ready to actually go to the airport. My friend came by and picked me up. I think the flight was at 7 in the morning, and they say for international flights you should be there, 2 to 4 hours ahead of time. So I planned on getting there about 3 or 4. We headed for Oklahoma City. He took me to the airport, parked in temporary parking, got my bags out, went inside, and figured out where to go to. I shook his hand, and he went back out, headed back to Duncan, and I was there in the middle of the night. Will Rogers Airport, which is not a real busy airport, so it was very, very few people around. I went to the desk and figured out how to check in, so I could make a copy of my passport and everything. I just felt totally alone. Nobody that I knew was within 100 miles, and I was getting ready to get on a flight to Thailand. So I went down to the boarding area and sat there for a couple of hours, watched the airport kind of wake up like airports do when you're there in the middle of the night. And all of a sudden, it was time to get on the plane. Now I got on the plane and was headed for Houston first, and then got to Houston, which I'd been to Houston Airport several times, so I was comfortable there. Got to my area to make the flight to Tokyo. Got on the plane there, and I'd booked a couple months ahead, so I got to pick my seating to where I had extra leg room. Trip to Tokyo, I was actually on the front row and had plenty of leg room in front of me there, so that wasn't a problem. I didn't have any problems. I dozed on and off during the flight. It was a flight during the day. I dozed, was perfectly comfortable. Got to Tokyo. Tokyo was a little bit difficult. Of course, I'd never been to Tokyo Airport before. I don't remember which one it was. Had a little bit of trouble finding where I needed to catch my flight to Bangkok. Had about a 2-hour layover, so I had to really hunt around for somebody that spoke English that could help me to get to the right place for my next flight. Took me a while, but I got there, and I got there in plenty of time. And I got to the boarding area for my flight to Bangkok, and took the flight to Bangkok. I got there. The same person who had offered to pay for my flight knew I was having some apprehension because it was just going to be such an ordeal for me to make the trip, since I'd never done anything like that before. He paid for a VIP pass when I got to Bangkok, so that was a snap. I went through the VIP area. I don't think it took more than 5 minutes, if that, and I was through with customs, immigration, and everything, and I was out the door into the airport just immediately. There was a guy standing there, had a card, had my name on it, and I went up to him, and he spoke a little bit of English, not very much, but enough to understand that I needed to do a couple things. I needed to exchange some of the cash that I had with me. I needed to get a SIM card for my phone so I could call my friends and let them know I'd made it in and make plans for the next day. He took me to both places there, got that done, and we went out, got in his van, very comfortable, very new, and we made the trip to Pattaya. And I believe if you've watched the videos with Simon and Johnny, you know the story there. First place, he took me to the wrong place. There are a couple of hotels there that sound very much the same. He took me to the wrong one, and I knew it, so I pointed out where I needed to go, and he took me down to the hotel that I was already booked into, and it was on LK Metro, which was closed off to traffic. They don't allow traffic at night. So I was about maybe a block and a half from the hotel when he had to let me off, and he didn't have any choice. That was it. So I got out and I paid him, got my baggage, and he drove off. And that's when the airport in Oklahoma City, being alone, just didn't even compare to the way I felt right then. I was literally halfway around the world. The only phrase I knew in Thai was Sawadee Cup. That was my mistake. I should have learned more Thai before I went. And I took my baggage down to the hotel, and it wasn't real crowded. It was low season. There were people around, but I felt just totally alone. Got to the hotel, they got me checked in. There'd been a mistake. I knew that I was going to have to climb the stairs. They didn't have an elevator there. And the person that ran it warned me of that, and I told him I can handle a flight of stairs with my legs. But when I got checked in, turned out I was up on the third floor. I had to climb a lot of stairs to get there. But I made it, got the room, and got everything sorted out in the room. Got in bed, went to sleep, didn't have any trouble, wouldn't sleep. Set the alarm, I think, for 11. It was about 3 in the morning, I believe, when I finally got everything settled in and got to bed. Woke up the next day, called the friends that I was supposed to meet with, and we decided on, I believe it was the Robin's Nest, to go eat breakfast. And I went there and met them. First time I'd ever met any of them, 5 of them, I believe. My journey through Pattaya started right then, and it was quite a day. We started at noon, and I got back to the room, I believe, at either 4 or 5 in the morning. They showed me all around Pattaya, and showed me where Simon's bar was, one of them. Got the picture taken out there, and they said it's Simon. And they showed me about the bot buses. They showed me all around, took me to several of the soys, that everybody has to go to, soy 6, soy 7. So that was the beginning of my adventure in Thailand. Just kind of tie up a little bit for the people that haven't known what I did while I was in Thailand. Kind of explain a few things like that. But this is where the adventure actually started. Okay, if you wouldn't mind, at some point up in the upper right-hand part of the screen, there's going to be a place to click to take a survey. What I would like to know is how the sound quality is in this part of the video. I got some help from my nephew, who is way more good at audio than I am. And I got some tips from him and did some things, and hopefully the sound is going to be better from now on. If you would click on that and let me know, is it better? Is it about the same? Or is it worse? So if you would, click on that and let me know, please. As much as I hate to admit it, my evil twin is partially right in his earlier statement, and that is that I have finished now with this part 4. I'm done with telling you how I got to Thailand, kind of in the long version. But I'm going to make one more episode. That episode will be a bit more philosophical in that I'll get into kind of the overall story of how I got to Thailand with some of the details to show why I'm looking at it that way. But I didn't want to make an 18-minute video here, so I cut it into 2. That way you can listen to the next one, of course, as always, if you want to or not. Some of it will be kind of a rehash, but it'll be a lot of just kind of how I look at how this all came about. So if you want to check it out, check it out. Otherwise, Thanks for listening to the 4 parts here. And do the usual stuff. Click like, unlike, subscribe, ring the bell, share, whatever. I will call it quits as far as my basic story of how I got to Thailand right here. And we'll see you on the next one. Bye.